Honorable Rajesh Kumar Indukant Modi. He's the Deputy Minister of Trade and Commerce, Government of Zimbabwe. Hearty welcome on stage, sir. He's an accomplished entrepreneur and the Member of Parliament for Bulawayo South, a constituency in Zimbabwe. Welcome, sir. Being joined by Mr. Pradeep Jayaraman, Chief Executive Officer of Adani Vizhinjam Port Private Limited. He has extensive leadership experience in digital transformation operations and analytics across various industries. And Mr. Praveen Thomas Joseph, Chief Executive Officer of DP World Ports and Terminals, Cochin. He's worked in organizations like Aspinwall and Company Limited before. 20 years of diverse experience in logistics with focus on third-party logistics, port and terminal management, etc. And finally, completing the panel on stage, Captain Amaresh Jha. He's the founding director of Kanu Shipping India. He's a distinguished maritime professional with over 25 years of experience in shipping management. He's also previously served as the nautical consultant and surveyor in charge with the Mercantile Marine Department of Government of India. Hearty welcome, sir. We will start this session with the keynote address by the Honorable Rajesh Kumar Indukant Modi ji, Deputy Minister of Trade and Commerce, Government of Zimbabwe. Hearty welcome, sir. Would you like to do so?
Thank you, Master of Ceremony. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Her Excellency Zimbabwean Ambassador to India, Mrs. Stella Como, the Principal Secretary, Department of Industry, Government of Kerala, Honorable Mr. Mohammed Hashish, IAS, Divya S. Iyer, IAS, Managing Director with Janan Port, Mr. C. Kumar, Managing Director of Caltron, the Trade Commissioner Zimbabwe, Honorable Beju Kumar, distinguished government official, esteemed representatives from various enterprises, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me pleasure to be addressing you today at the special occasion Invest Kerala Global Summit 2025. Firstly, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me and my team to this important event. Zimbabwe and India have a long history, close and cordial relationship, and today, through the Invest Kerala Global Summit 2025, we have a great opportunity to enhance that relationship. Through improved trade and investment in our two countries, India export to Zimbabwe was US 160.57 million, while Zimbabwe export to India was 37.3 million during 2023, according to United Nations Complete Database on International Trade. The current figures are not good enough, but the trading lines that exist can be a stepping stone for India and specifically for Kerala state manufacturers to supply more goods to Zimbabwe market and the whole continent of Africa through the African Continental Free Trade Area, the AFCFTA. Ladies and gentlemen, the AFCFTA is a great opportunity for Kerala manufacturers to set up a manufacturing plant in Zimbabwe, as the country is strategically located as a distribution hub, especially in southern region of Africa. Zimbabwe should soon start trading under the second phase of the guided trade initiative, which is meant to test the resilience of member state trade system. The FTA, bringing together all 54 member states of the African Union, covering a market of more than 1.3 billion people and a combined gross domestic product of more than US 3.4 trillion. It is interesting to note that its population is expected to grow to 2.5 billion, and its combined GDP will more than double by 2050. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been briefed on the strength of Kerala state in the manufacturing of high-end technology, assembly, and systems integration. Zimbabwe is still lagging behind in those areas, which offers great opportunity for companies in those sectors to set up a factory in Zimbabwe which manufactures such key products. The government of Zimbabwe is ready to engage with the potential investor and offer initiative which will guarantee return on your investment. Zimbabwe has been carrying out case of doing business, ease of doing business, reform through the Zimbabwean Open for Business mantra pushed by our President of the Republic, Dr. Idi Mnangagwa, with a vision of upper middle income society by 2030. The reforms include the established one-stop investment service center that has greatly streamlined the investment licensing process and consolidated the requestee clearance for setting up shop under one roof. One thing I want to tell you is Zimbabwe is border 4 countries. And currently our president is the chairman for SADC. That includes 16 regional countries. So we have a bilateral agreement between those SADC countries that you can import and export your goods or service without any duty, or very minimum duty if it's any. So that is the good thing for Zimbabwe. If you put up a factory, say pharmaceutical factory in Zimbabwe, you cover another 4 countries within a very small distance. Like say, if you put up your factory in Victoria Falls, that gives you another 4 countries within 100 kilometers. We share borders. So within 100 kilometers, Victoria Falls and Zambia is not even kilometer, it's just a bridge that you cross, you go into Zambia from Zimbabwe. So that kind of benefit that you get. And Victoria Falls is strategically there that you can do your production or manufacturing, whatever you want to do that. And all your customers, you can serve them within a day from your factory. So that's a good advantage. And it's Victoria Falls is a special economic zone. So you have a lot of benefit that from the government that we offer to the investors, such as duty-free your equipment, your raw material, things like that. And plus you have a tax benefit also. It depends on your investment. You get tax holiday for certain years. 1 to 5 years we give on that part also. So that's some of the benefit that you get from the government. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to underscore the vital role that India plays in revitalizing and unlocking the economic and industrial potential of Zimbabwe and in the entire African continent. In our quest to revitalize our manufacturing sector, we are strongly urging you all to partner us in this exciting journey to prosperity. Vast investment opportunities lie in the establishment of industrial parks, value additional of agriculture and mineral products, as well as manufacturing of consumer goods, chemicals, metals, and pharmaceuticals, just to mention a few. Zimbabwe manufactures less than 10% of the pharmaceutical products, hence there is an opportunity in this area. We have the largest deposit of lithium in Africa and and almost all of it is exported as a raw, which again presents a great opportunity in lithium batteries, electrical vehicle, and small electronic gadgets manufacturing. There is no single local producer of solar panel at only 33% of households connected to grid electricity, and I know India is one of the leading producers of the solar energy products. So here is the opportunity for the Indian companies. The solar panels and solar equipment, whatever regarding you use in the solar power generation, our government has decided to allow duty-free. So you can export to Zimbabwe, or you can bring the plant, or we can assembly there in Zimbabwe. All your equipment, your raw material, everything will be duty-free. And again, that you got a big customer base that you can supply in region. So that is a very good business at the moment, is booming. And I would like to take opportunity, our Indian fellows, that they can come and do. It's a very good opportunity for us. Zimbabwe poses high growth potential across various sectors, particularly for the investor willing to engage with long-term opportunities in its key industries. The prospect of establishing a laptop manufacturing industry in Zimbabwe and the opening of the Carlton Knowledge Center in Zimbabwe, focusing on IT, software and programming education, both present significant potential for economic growth, technological advancement, and employment creation. The long-term plan of developing a local supply chain of some of the laptop components would significantly reduce the production costs, allow quicker time to market, diversify the economy, and create more potential for export. All these electronics items mostly comes to Zimbabwe from China. So it's a big potential for Indian market also there, that they can come and, because people like the Indian products. They feel that Indian products are better than Chinese one. So I think that is also, there's one of the plus points that you can come in. Ladies and gentlemen, however, the full potential of our economy can only be realized when we can timely export and import raw materials, intermediate goods, or finished consumer goods at competitive prices. This is mostly by developing the necessary infrastructure, which includes ports. Ports have long been the lifeblood of trade, connecting the market, culture, and economics. As vital gateway between land and sea, they are not only hubs for the movement of goods, but also for the flow of ideas, innovation, and opportunities. The Open Vizianam International Seaport in Kerala, I believe it's the biggest in Kerala, the first automated port in India, which locates close to shipping routes between Europe, the Persian Gulf, and Far East. The port is equipped with the modern infrastructure and latest technology. The natural depth of the port is 24 meters, so big cargo ships can dock. Especially through the lens of port, lead development holds the promise of unlocking the potential of economic growth, cross-border collaboration, and the expression of the global trades. Although Zimbabwe is a landlocked country, the government is fully aware of this significance of this port, hence the establishment of dry port and continuous development of trade corridor, notably the North-South corridor from South Africa, the Beira corridor, the Dar es Salaam corridor, and the Wavis Bay corridor, which provides access to the transatlantic market. As I conclude, it is with a great pleasure that I extend a warm invitation to you all to join us at the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair, ZITF 2025, scheduled to take place from 21st to 26 April 2025 in Bulawayo, Zimbabwe, second city. The ZITF stands as one of the largest and most prestigious trade showcase in Africa, attracting businesses, investors, and policymakers from across the globe. The 2025 edition promised to be even more significant as we continue to create new pathways for growth, collaboration, and innovation across multiple sectors, including agriculture, mining, manufacturing, technology, and infrastructures. Allow me to take this opportunity to also inform you that Zimbabwe assumed the chair of the Southern African Development Community, SADC, a regional economic grouping comprising of 16 African countries. Therefore, we will use this opportunity to deepen the cooperation between India and the SADC region. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with these few words, I wish you fruitful deliberation for the entire Invest Kerala Global Summit. I thank you. Siyabonga.
Thank you, Honorable Rajesh Kumar Indukan Modi ji, for those welcoming words opening doors of collaboration between Zimbabwe and Kerala. And with that, I hand it over to our moderator, Dr. Divya S. Iyer, who will steer the conversation from here.
Thank you. I think beyond India-Zimbabwe relationship in cricket, it is a welcome change that all of us get to hear from the man himself regarding bilateral relationship between the two countries, from the industrial aspect of it and the prospects of it that we are about to see in the future as well. It is indeed a joyous occasion today to meet and greet all of you here at Invest Kerala 2025. And we at the Vizhinjam International Seaport heartily welcome each one of you to Vizhinjam and to Kerala through Vizhinjam. So, being the gateway to Kerala, being the gateway to India, being the gateway to the subcontinent, and being the window to the world, we do take pride in being part of Invest Kerala 2025. Our entire team is out here. So on behalf of each one of us, I extend a hearty welcome from the Government of Kerala to all of you present here. We have a very expert team of panelists here, and we are here to talk about catalyzing growth, port-led development as a bridge to global trade. And the point where I want to start is probably from the very beginning. As we all know, there used to be an era where any kind of voyage into the seas was always considered the biggest adventure of times. Right from discovery of continents and countries, to formation of cultures, to development of civilizations, to even medical discoveries, voyages have always played a role. Albeit it always used to be a fearful one. Once one ventures into the sea, one never knew what was the fate. I remember being a child, probably the first time I heard the word port was probably when I was 5 years or 6 years old, when I was taught the poem, "O Captain, my Captain." I'm certain, any poetry lovers amongst you would definitely remember that, the famous poem by Walt Whitman, wherein it starts off as, "Oh Captain, my Captain." It talks about how the port is near, the bells I hear, all people are exulting. The joy of having a port near is something that all of us sitting here as panelists are experiencing right now. But in the poem, it was fear, as I mentioned. It was fear, it was fateful, it was adventurous. But today, I would say it is very far away from all of that. We have come a long way in sea trade. As per the latest reports of the UN, I think around 80% of international trade on goods are via waters, or the maritime trade constitutes 80% of international trade in goods, which has been a long way to development. I think I would like to start with Praveen. Tell us about how exciting it has been. Let's start off with the good things first. So, the fear to fab journey of shipping and trade. Tell us how exciting has it been to have been working in this industry and, steering forward global trade as part of this industry.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. And on behalf of DP World, very privileged to be here and congratulate the organizers for having a session on logistics and port-led development. Usually we find it our industry finds it very difficult to get a chair in these kind of events. So it's great to have that. Yeah, the journey, thanks for going back so many years. What comes to my mind is a little bit about Kerala's history and Cochin. This is where I'm based. I'll talk a little bit about Cochin as well.
Yes, yes.
Long maritime history. We've had this coast of Kerala has had trade relations going back millennia, more than 2,000 years. Muziris used to be the port in the BC era, and then later we had Calicut, and then we had Cochin. I personally, my first job was in Cochin Port, where I was running around doing a bit of operations for the ships which were coming there. That was when the Cochin Port was in Wellington Island. And since then, that was sometime in 1992. A lot of things have changed globally. Although shipping as such is still a very traditional industry.
Yes.
It's steeped in tradition, and change happens very, very slowly, including the introduction of technology, which everybody is a buzzword now, but in shipping and the maritime industry, it comes very, very slowly for various reasons. And so from Wellington Island, we moved to Vallarpadam. That was in 2011, and that was a time when India was bringing in private operators into the port industry. And that heralded, I think, a new era in terms of bringing in the latest technology, the latest processes, and efficiency and things like that. And we've had a good journey in Cochin from 2005 on the other side of the channel, and from 2011 on this side of the channel. It's been a very exciting journey. We've proud to have played a part for the economy of not just Kerala, but for the south of India. And very happy to have a neighbor, my friend Pradeep Sport, and yourself in Virinjam, and I'm sure we will, complement each other. Maybe we'll talk about that later. I think I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Praveen. As you can guess, we are just warming up and getting to know each other. So before getting into the hardcore aspects of the shipping industry, I think, Pradeep, tell us, you have recently actually forayed into shipping, if I may say so, though you have been in the industry for very long with an enviable bag of experience. So tell us, how has Virinyam experience been for you?
Thank you. In one word answer, it has been a phenomenal last year. It is made possible mainly because I think the whole team came together. vessel played a significant portion, government, local support, and so on and so forth, right? Thank you. And what is also important is that why I'm saying it is excellent, it is phenomenal, is that this is India's technologically most advanced port. I would say India, South Asia's technologically advanced port. And not many get an opportunity to work during the first berthing of the ship and opening of the port, right? So I think some of us are just lucky here to be there,
Yes.
part of the journey. So what was also interesting is that we were staring at unknown unknowns. So there is a known unknown, right? So and then unknown unknowns, right? So we were not even sure what will work and what will fail. But I think it is everybody's good wishes, hard work, God's blessing. I think things fell in place. And today, I think in January, we did second largest in South India in terms of volume, right? With nothing existing last year to now somewhere, close to inching towards top in the south. I think that has been a phenomenal journey.
Yes. Amrish, you have been with the shipping industry for quite a bit now, as I learn. Tell us how shipping industry has actually changed the trade scenario in our country as such, from your first-hand experience.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, Invest Kerala, for inviting us to this port-led development session. So I have been in industry for last 25, 26 years now, and had privilege to work with Mercantile Money Department, which is part of Directorate General of Shipping.
Yeah.
So I was heading Paradip Port as a surveyor in charge. So what I have seen when we started as a cadet in year 98, 99 to now what we are in 2025, lot of automation, lot of mechanization has taken place. And today what we see in India, more or less we have on an average 25 hours of, the throughput, a vessels more or less take about 25 hours, which if you ask me, when we started, it used to be 4 to 5 days. So that gives you the complete picture of from where 4 to 5 days to 1 day we have gone. That is more or less the story of all the major ports in India. And so as the private port has taken up more or less same way. So that is the growth story that we can talk about in India.
Yes. Both of you very prominently mentioned the entry of private players into this sector. So, ours as such, I think is one of the finest PPP model that we have in the country as well when it comes to Vizhinjam International Seaport as well. And I would like to focus and dig deep into that area because this whole concept of public-private partnership still lends to a lot of speculation in the Indian scenario even today. But I would think that shipping industry has been one which has successfully navigated through all those speculations and actually come out of it with flying colors. How do you think we have managed to do that, and what are the challenges that you face in having this industry in a PPP model as such? Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So,
I would like all of your comments on that. I think you're on.
Yeah. So, Indian ports, if you see, of late, if you go to any major ports, you will find out how they have managed their resources, how the warehouses are looking like. So then when this, the PPP model started, and when I know that the landlord model basically when it started, and I see, whether it's Adani, whether it's Jindal or the various other private parties, they started to operate the terminal, and which you can basically, being put, operation guy, I can literally see the difference between the private operators who are operating in the same port versus the government operators who are working for the same port. And basically, this is the trade and time is the essence. And any owners would prefer to go in a terminal which gives them, the smooth turnaround, safe turnaround, and a kind of quick turnaround. And whoever is doing that, they will be benefited. That is why we have got Mundra doing so well. That is why Vizhinjam is doing so well. And I'm sure DP World and other many private operators are doing very good. So lend-out model is, I think, working fine. Even for the government, they are making money. So I think this is win-win situation for both, for private as well as for the government.
Pradeep, what are the challenges that you have been facing, not just in Viridium, but in this entire sector?
So I would just generally say, a little more philosophically, and I might be right, might not be, is, the USP or core strength of normally government is governance, policy making, generally uplifting people, social infrastructure and so on and so forth. So education, healthcare, etc. But the moment you come to any industries, and especially certain areas which is specialized, it might be better to hand it over to the person who is an expert in doing it better. That will again go back to the same thing goes, it will enable and help in the social development. So that's first, right? So what is my USP? What should I be focusing on? Because there is limited resources, right? So if government has a limited set of resources, would you want to spend it on education and healthcare and so on, or would you want to build a port, right? So that's a question always that comes into picture. Where do you put your capital in? So everybody has their strength. So you need capital, so which is one, and then their ability to actually bring in best practices. We are a federal government, right? So and then every state has its own policies, procedures, way of working. So you might not be able to bring in the best practices, or maybe your ability to go sit in a different state which is maybe thousands of kilometers away and understand what is happening. So a private guy might be able to do it, like all of us also get transferred from one place to other. So we see what happens in Orissa can happen here, and vice versa, Gujarat, etc. The third point which the perception is already changing is that if you are an MBA student, it comes in the first chapter of the business book itself, is profit making is not bad. Right? So that's the mindset people need to, because money generates more money, right? So you have an organization that comes in, doesn't make money, will not be able to invest further and grow further and so on and so forth. Right, so that's actually a smaller challenge too, right? A lot of people still see that making money or profit is kind of a sin, right? So that's one of the things I would say. These are the three largest stuff. Where would you want to put in your capital? That you need to prioritize. Bringing in the best practices. You need to make money to create further money, and that will help in the social development and so on and so forth.
Praveen? Challenges aspect, I didn't hear any of you talk about, so if you can.
As you rightly said, ma'am, it's probably one of the most successful PPP models in any industry, the shipping industry. I think the evidence of that is the number of new terminals with private operators which have grown in the country.
Yes.
And Jawaharlal Nehru Port is now the first 100% landlord port. The port doesn't run anything.
Yes.
Everything is in private hands.
Yeah.
So quite clearly it's been successful. 1997 is when it started, and very proud to say that the first terminal was the DP World terminal in Navasheva, NSICT.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, great.
And I think the nation just celebrated 25 years of that a couple of years back. So in terms of challenges, obviously it's worked well, but I think there's room for improvement. One of them would be maybe a longer period of commitment or concession, because the amount of investment required is so much that a longer period of the concession agreement tenure would help. Second is a little more flexibility in the terms, because usually the agreement is set in stone and you have a 30-year period, and during 30 years a lot of things can change. The market can change, your competitors can change, ships can get bigger, wider, but if you don't have room to maneuver, then you're kind of stuck. So I think a little more flexibility in certain things. These are the two things I would highlight as challenges, areas of improvement.
Yeah, makes sense. Honorable Minister, you spoke about factories in Zimbabwe, and they were mentioning about some best practices here. It would be good if you can share some of the best practices from either Zimbabwe or any of the other countries in Africa that you have experienced it from. Best practices in trades.
Okay, thank you so much. I've already mentioned the benefits, to come to Zimbabwe and do the business. But I can go again and say, right, as I mentioned, that we have African continental free trade. That's got 54 countries under one roof that you can do business with them with 1.3 billion people. Your customer base is very, very big. So that is the one direct benefit that you can get. Secondly, I've mentioned also that regional benefit that you can get coming to Zimbabwe and do your production or manufacturing, whatever you want to do. We bordered 4 countries, Mozambique, Zambia, Botswana, and Namibia. Botswana, Namibia, and Zimbabwe, and Zambia, they are about 70, 80 kilometers in radius. Zambia, as I said, it's only half a kilometer, 500 meters away from the border. So that kind of benefit, and because we have the agreements, so you can supply your goods or products duty-free to those countries. So that's a very, very big advantage. Somebody who wants to come and invest into Zimbabwe. I think it answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Pradeep, talking about Zimbabwe, Africa, and I remember the days when we actually started, welcoming ships into the port. We used to be very curious as to, which is the port of call, where is it coming from, where is it going, and all of that. But now, when we complete, say, even 6 months of active, operations, if we plot all the countries, all the ports from where the ships come and, where the ships go to, we see that the entire globe, entire map would just light up, right? I think that is also the, the heart of maritime trade. That connectivity is so seamless and, it kind of demolishes all the barriers to trade at a certain level. So how do you think that, maritime trade has actually crossed over these barriers of traditional trade in any other route when it comes to shipping as such?
If you did mention about 80% of global trade happens this way. I'll give you the smaller example on why this is going to be there for a very long time.
Yes.
So we had the Red Sea crisis. And there's a much longer detour, thousands of sea miles, nautical miles. But still, nobody shifted, no, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to do air cargo. I'll just give you a smaller example. When you actually ship a laptop from China to Europe, the actual transportation cost per laptop is actually few cents. It is just few cents. We did this workout when I was in my earlier organization, one of the shipping companies. No other mode of transport of cargo will ever be able to give something like this, which is one. 2, whenever we talk about cargo growth, we always talk about, we think containers, but there are cargo which is liquid, which is dry, like coal and iron ore and so on and so forth. That bulk quantity, those huge quantity, I don't think so it can be transported at this current way in any other mode other than through sea and through ships, right?
Absolutely.
So 2 things, right? My long story short, right? So this is one of the oldest industries, dating back to thousands of years. And this is going to continue for at least, if not thousands, at least another hundreds of years, because in the foreseeable future, some of these cargo, few other things can go through Hyperloop, through train, through other things. But this kind of a scale, this kind of a size, complex cargo, it can be dry, it can be liquid, it can be bulk, it can be break bulk. you name anything, it has to go through shipping lines.
Yes.
The second thing is, another example I'll give. Today morning we were coming to the event and then we were choked on the container road. I mean, it was not just us, every minister and everybody. It was just chock-a-block, complete choke, This is what happens. When a train derails, everything comes to a standstill. There is no traffic jam in sea. Red Sea is closed, okay, I'm taking Cape of Good Hope, right? Something else is closed, I'm taking an alternative. Because you know that, 1/3 is land and then 2/3 is all water in this world. So you always have an opportunity, and India is blessed that we have such a long coast, and we should utilize the full benefit of it. So yes, madam, so whatever happens, things will get realigned. But, as I said that if Chennai port, as an example, is getting choked, the cargo will go to Kochi. And then from Kochi, it will get exported out, right? So that's an advantage that we always have in this trade, and it is going to thrive.
Okay, great. I think that's a great point. The flexibility, as you mentioned, the cost effectiveness you mentioned. What do you think are the interventions from the side of the shipping industry and the trade community that have actually contributed towards this cost effectiveness, Praveen? Of course, containerization has done it in a large way, but,
So quite a bit, right? So since the beginning, late 60s is when containerization actually happened. So a lot of investment now, he did talk about that the port efficiencies have significantly gone up. The turnaround time of ships, specialized vessels, a lot of technology. You are aware of what we are doing in Virinjam. Your ability to give consistent productivity for a long time. Fuel efficient ships, green fueled ships, because all that is now important, right? So from an industry 20 years back, that was very, very hard to change, is kind of trying to invent and reinvent on a daily basis these days, right from going green to energy efficiency to custom designing stuff and productivity. So when any person I talk to about, including I remember you asking this question, is that what is your turnaround time? How fast are you turning around these ships? What is the wait time, right? So there is consistent, process re-engineering that is happening, investment in technology that is happening, customized solutions that are happening. So that has brought in significant efficiency. The concept of hub and spoke, transshipment, these things are a little more evolved now in terms of how they route and reroute the cargo. That enabled efficiency.
Definitely. You just spoke about transshipment, so I'm tempted to ask Praveen, do you think that in the future of shipping industry and port-led development, there is going to be a sense of, specialization for each, port or for each wing of the shipping industry as such? Is diversification the way to go, or specialization the way to go?
If you talk about, I'll talk about container shipping because that's my field.
Yeah.
I think specialization or diversification, whatever a port does, I think it's very specific to the market it serves. I think the ultimate role of the port is whoever is the customer in your hinterland, his or her cargo has to reach destination in the quickest and the most economical form. And how you do that is a combination of you have ships which take the cargo directly to the final destination, but it's impossible for any port in the world, even I would say probably even the Shanghais and Singapores, to serve every single destination directly.
Yeah.
So it is always a combination of ships which take it directly and feedering to another port which has a service which you don't have. So it's always a combination of that. Ultimately, the customer's cargo should not suffer in terms of delays, irrespective of what's happening around the world. The other kind of change which is happening of late is in the shipping industry, we are saying shipping lines adopting two different approaches when it comes to serving customers.
Okay.
One school of thought is that you need to have as many direct calls as possible.
Okay.
And the other school of thought is you should call as least number of ports as possible, and the rest of the ports should feeder to those main ports.
Yes.
And so these are two different schools of thought, just like how it was in the airline industry some time back, wherein the Airbus A320 was the latter model where called least number of airports, but the Boeing 777 was calling maximum number of airports. So it's something like that. So these are the different schools of thought. But ultimately, what I would say is that a port has to serve their customer.
Yes.
Whatever the customer needs, the port has to put together
Yes.
the service which they need.
Yes. Yeah. So customer is the king. There is no two ways about it. Amrish, talking about customized solutions, how far do you think we have been able to deliver that in the Indian market as compared to the international markets in global trade through the maritime route?
I think to most extent we have been able to provide, because India being mostly the importing country, right? May it be oil, crude oil that we are bringing from Russia today, or earlier it was majority from Middle East or USA. So we have been an importing country, since long, and 1.4 billion population. We will be continuing to import most of the cargo from outside. The good point about our country is that, as Pradeep also mentioned, we are blessed with more than 7,500 kilometer of the coastline that we have. Whether we have developed those coastline in last 75 years, something that we have to think about it, the way that could have happened. But yes, we still have more than 200 ports. We still have 12 major ports, more than 200 non-major ports, and many ports are coming up. Vizhinjam is just one example which is going to set up a big landmark in the times to come. And we know the strategic location that Cochin or Vizhinjam represents to India. So definitely I would say it has kind of served the purpose. We could have done better, yes, definitely, but it has served to most of the extent.
Great. Talking about strategic location, getting back to the two of you, Vallarpadam and Vizhinjam both are located, in a very strategic location as far as the geopolitical scene is concerned. But at the same time, the sense of competitiveness is also quite evident, at least in the untrained eye, So one of the questions that I get asked very frequently is that, when Vizhinjam comes up, is it actually going to break Vallarpadam's market? When Vizhinjam comes up, how are you going to stand up to Colombo? These are the kind of questions which the common man is very curious to know. So I would like to know both of your takes on it, both as, competitors and as fair players in the field. Praveen first, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the first question even I get asked, not just by customers or colleagues, but even when I go to buy some vegetables from the vegetable vendor, he knows that I'm from DP World. That's the first question he asks me. So I think these two ports are very strategically positioned, as he mentioned, very close to the main shipping lanes. And I believe that the two ports can complement each other. One of the ports, I would say Cochin's main focus has been over the years and probably will continue into the near future, is about the gateway cargo. It's a cargo in the hinterland which comes through the gates. That's what we call gateway cargo. Of South India, not just Kerala, but the larger part of South India. And Cochin can cater to ships of a certain size because of a limitation in the draft. It's at 14.5 now. Possibly might go up to 16 in the near future. We'll have to wait and see. Whereas Vizhinjam can obviously accommodate much larger ships, as we are seeing now, and cater to mainly transshipment cargo, possibly, and cater to the larger part of India. You know,
Yes,
the
yes.
Indian peninsula as such. So I would say between Cochin and Vizhinjam, I'm seeing a good combination of two ports which can cater to the market in South India as well as to the market for the entire the country as such, through a combination of gateway services and transshipment services, and a combination of being able to handle ships of different sizes, catering to different trades.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I truly hope that it's going to be synergistic and 1 + 1 will be more than 2. So
I would say this, right? So India needs more ports capacity. Our current capacity is quite inadequate. That's the first point. So there is no competition itself here. So because we need more ports or more capacity. If you actually see, you know, India doesn't have a mega port like what you have in certain other countries. And I was reading today that Jubilee did some 15 million last year. You know, I'm just saying, you know, there are Chinese ports do 30, 40, 50 million. So India's largest Mundra does around 8 million. And those ports, you know, single ports do much, much larger. I think we realized it. That's why the Vadhavan port that is announced has a capacity of 23 million or something, right? So that's the right way to approach. So if you see the roads, there is enough roads that if you see everywhere there is roads, but there is traffic. There is, you know, buses are full, trains are full, because that very clearly says that the middle class is growing and their economy is growing, and we need more infrastructure. Like he rightly pointed out that we will complement each other. The immediate focus is on transshipment because that is what the country also needs, because the country loses significant amount of money, time, and putting our exporters at a disadvantage, which will immediately be, I think, fulfilled by the Vizhinjam port. But in a long term, you will have a combination of what he talked about, hub and spoke and direct services. So there will be more, for example, when we trade with Africa, when we trade with Middle East, you don't need a hub and spoke. The respective ports can directly start. It can be a point-to-point because you have enough cargo between those 2 points that is happening, and a longer cultural plus trade relationship that we have a certain set of, especially Africa and Middle East. So I strongly feel, it's not just feeling, you know, it is if you look at economic numbers, it says that India needs more port capacity. And both of us will be happy neighbors.
Happy to share the pie.
Absolutely.
Okay.
May I
Yes,
add here?
Amrish.
Yeah, so I think I agree with both of them that yes, it is going to complement each other. I'll give you one example. You know, in 2021-22, when this COVID was there, Cochin was, of course, ideally the best location at that time to cater most of the vessels which were coming across for the crew change. Even the owners were diverting the vessels. And then when this opportunity came up and we put it through Kerala Maritime Board and we got the special approval from MOHA and the DG Shipping, and we got this Vizhinjam anchorage, you know, to carry out the crew change. And you can imagine now, so those vessels which used to wait for about 24 hours, 36 hours, used to clear here in 4 hours, because you have hardly 4 to 5 nautical miles from the land and with the depth of around 20 meters. In Cochin, you have to stay at least 12 nautical mile off OPL, you know, because you don't get port clearance in Cochin. They don't give you the port clearance, so you have to stay out of the port limit, which is 12 nautical mile. Whereas in Vizhinjam, we used to get the port clearances, so you can come inside as long as, you know, the depth was allowing, and naturally it is God-gifted depth over there. So you see how it has complemented those 346 ships in 2021, and then another, I think, 367 vessels in 22. would have either gone to some other country, or else, even if it has gone to Cochin, it would have delayed by at least 2 to 3 days per vessel. So how much trade
Time
has
and
been
trade,
generated.
yeah.
So I see there is a lot of synergies going to work. Plus, we are only discussing here the container movement. Both this DP World and Vizhinjam Port, Seaport, we're talking about only the container. What about the other
Yes. the
segment,
bulk
which is
cargo and-
VLCC,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
gas carrier, which is bulk carrier? So those opportunities are also lying. So I
Yes.
think it is going to complement each other.
Yes.
And more, you have column there, which has got around 8 meter of draft. So you see how we have to utilize this draft is something to be thought of. That maybe the bigger vessel can go to Vizhinjam, bigger vessel can go to Cochin, and probably lesser than that can come to Kollam. So we
Yes.
have to see how the administration is taking
Yes.
considering those aspects as well.
Yes, absolutely. We have the Maritime Board Chairman also here. So, we would ideally need a comprehensive plan to actually tie up all these loose ends together. And I really hope that we will be doing that soon next time we get to meet you all. Before wrapping up, I just want to touch upon one point. Which would be about green shipping, which is the in thing in global trade as far as the port-led industries are concerned today. As we all know, Government of India is also coming up with the green shipping code, and green being the ethos of Kerala as a whole in the state. I think that is the right way for us to go as well in the future. What are the plans for green shipping in Kerala right now? I don't want to say that, so I would probably like Praveen and Pradeep to talk about it. Yeah.
Maybe you can add a couple of points, right? So it's multiple stakeholders are responsible for this, right from shipping line to governments, because they need to give either incentivize or something like that, because it's otherwise difficult. Ports, the entire ecosystem. There are two components. One is what is the right fuel. There are still certain debates that is going on. Do you mix methanol? Do you look at hydrogen as an alternative or something else, right? So there is a lot of those questions that is happening. Maybe in the future, from a port's perspective, we will look at providing those facilities. As I said, that we are looking at as a multi-cargo
Yes,
port.
yes.
So some of these things to be. Immediately, what we are also looking at is if we can give shore-based power so that they don't burn the fuel when they are there, right? So that is one of the opportunities that we have.
Yeah.
At least our tugs have already started getting that. We were reviewing, we have kind of significantly saved diesel. It's not about saving diesel, it is actually we are doing it more for green purpose. But what we need to also look at it in a larger scheme of things, I hear the Cochin airport is, I think, the only airport in the world which is completely run by green energy.
Yes.
So, can we do something like this? One, I'll be able to provide shore-based electricity.
Shore-based power, yeah.
But can I source that from green sources, right?
Yeah.
So those are the things which we are thinking about and want to engage with various stakeholders. As Adani as a group has a very ambitious goal to be carbon neutral and net zero. So it's a stated goal for us. Including, we are also thinking about, all our machines now, it is all electric. Should we replace our diesel trucks into electric trucks? In a lot of our other ports, you don't see. I think other than, Vizhinjam in container, which all our other container terminals have shifted to electric trucks than diesel trucks. And we are also thinking about it in the next couple of years we are doing. So we are doing certain steps. We'll work with the stakeholders of the ecosystem and definitely would want to proceed in this area.
Yes. Praveen?
I think Pradeep covered most of it. I'll just add that in our journey, we are a much older port, so we have a lot of fossil fuel based equipment. We've converted, I would say, 100% of them into electric. That's one step. So very little emissions inside the port right now. The next step is to ensure that the source of your energy is actually green. So right now, with a captive solar plant, it's about 15% of our source energy is green. And through arrangements like power purchase agreements, we expect to take that up to at least 50%.
Okay.
By the end of this year. and gradually to 100%. Maybe in the next 1 or 2 years, 100% of, we aim to have 100% of our energy source as green.
Okay.
So that's a simple
Yes.
port
Step-by-step approach.
journey, as far as sustainability is concerned.
Okay, great to hear that. And I would just like to inform you that the government of Kerala is full-on support for any kind of green interventions in shipping. And at Viridium, we are really looking forward towards stakeholders and investors in the green shipping arena, right from, bunkering to, green hydrogen to, various modalities that we could explore and work out. Because we do think that that is where the future lies. And with that, I think I would like to wrap up the session if we have time for a couple of questions. Yeah.
This is Dr. Umar Salim with you. Thanks for a fantabulous session moderated by Madam Divya. Capturing her one word of bilateral. And my question is to the Honorable Minister. Minister, you were talking in your keynote address regarding the electronics industry, energy storage, nothing but the lithium-ion battery, and also solar. India, we have our own knowledge intelligence in this particular proposition. How effectively we can globally, we can do a trade collaboration relations in transfer of technology or in terms of indigenous production for your ecosystem, for your requirement from our knowledge base, how well we can collaborate effectively on a cross-border, bilateral, business arrangement, exchange of knowledge relation methodology.
Technology exchange, I think the best way to you come there. Then let's start with something, then we can have a technology exchange also same time. What particular area are you looking at?
In your keynote, you mentioned about electronics, lithium-ion battery, disruptive battery technology, disruptive solar energy, disruptive electronics, which is called flexible electronics, which all of you are using. India is focusing, especially the government of India.
As I said earlier on the electronics, we almost 100% we import.
Yeah, that is why you have technology. We can. That's I heard when you spoke.
So that's why we need your expertise.
Can we take a delegation to your Zimbabwe for a collaborative arrangement?
Yes. So he's saying welcome to Zimbabwe.
Okay,
so
thank
please
you.
go.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay. So time to wrap up, I think. Thank you so much, Amrish, Praveen, Pradeep, and it was wonderful having you, Honorable Minister. Thank you so much. We really hope that this entire industry of maritime trade and all the stakeholders concerned inspired the younger generation to actually dream more and reach out beyond the seas, because I think in our generation, when we were children, probably one would look at the plane and say that I want to become a pilot when I grow up. But I am yet to see a child, who points at a ship and says, I want to become a marine engineer, or I want to be in the shipping industry when I grow up. So I think the time is now, and the next generation will definitely find lots and lots of lucrative professions within the shipping industry. And maritime trade is here to stay, and let port-led development benefit all the people around it, not just the stakeholders, but as you rightly pointed out, the customers and the consumers, who are definitely the ultimate gods for all of us. So thank you so much for joining in this session. We hope all of you enjoyed it as well. Thank you for being a wonderful audience.
Thank you, Dr. Divya, for steering the conversation. But before we formally express our gratitude to all of you with a memento, I'd like to take a moment for a special ceremony on stage with your permission. Her Excellency Ambassador Stella Nkomo from Republic of Zimbabwe is here. We'd like to invite you on stage, ma'am. We are honored to have her here. And she'll speak to us on the collaboration between Zindia Digital and Keltron and the role of Zimbabwe-India Trade Commissioner's Office in facilitating this partnership. The speech will be followed by an MOU exchange on stage in the presence of all the panelists and the moderator on stage. Welcome on stage, ma'am. Let's welcome Her Excellency Ambassador Stella Nkomo with a loud round of applause.
Good afternoon to you all. Good afternoon. Are you still around? Good afternoon. I'm not used to people that are not smiling, so you have to smile. When you are smiling, you give me energy to go on. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to go through the protocols. The Deputy Minister of Industry and Commerce, Honorable Modi, distinguished dignitaries at the podium, honorable guests, distinguished delegates, esteemed partners. It is indeed a great honor to be here today, celebrating a significant milestone in strengthening the business ties between Kerala and Zimbabwe. The summit is a testament to the power of collaboration, innovation, and shared vision in driving economic growth and prosperity for the two great nations, that is Zimbabwe and India, and Kerala specifically. Under the dynamic leadership of the Zimbabwe-India Trade Commissioner, we have witnessed remarkable progress, which I am very delighted and proud to announce today. We have 11 companies from Kerala that have successfully registered in Zimbabwe, opening new avenues for trade and investment. And these companies include, if you can just give them a round of applause as I go through them, Zindia Minerals, Leeds Gold Mine Private Limited, Zindia Digital Private Limited, Amagin Zimbabwe, Zosmos Zenith Gold Mine, Zindia Eco Wonders, Zosmos Zenith Gold Jewelers, Zindia Gold Futures Private Limited, Zabiha Foods Private Limited, Wells Mining Consultancy, and Kerala State Electronics Development Corporation Limited. I think these companies really are a testament of the wonderful work of our Trade Commissioner and the power of collaborations. Furthermore, I am pleased to share that Pavjam Foods and Oils Private Limited has shown keen interest in joining this growing network by registering their company in Zimbabwe. And yesterday, the Honorable Deputy Minister and myself were an opportunity to tour their factory, and I must say, ladies and gentlemen, we were blown away by the amount of work which they are doing. So I believe they also deserve a round of applause. Moving forward, today we mark another milestone in this flourishing partnership. I'm happy to announce that Kerala State Electronics Development Corporation Limited, better known as Keltron, is now officially registered in Zimbabwe. To solidify this collaboration and outline future engagements, we are signing an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding, signifying a strong commitment to fostering technological and economic growth between both nations. Further strengthening this partnership, Zindia Digital Private Limited, where the Zimbabwe-India Trade Commissioner is a major shareholder, is set to collaborate with Keltron. In its initial phase, this partnership will focus on assembling laptops, mobile phones, and televisions, with plans to begin full-scale manufacturing in Bulawayo after a year. It is truly encouraging to see an Indian company with such a rich legacy entering the Zimbabwean market. Beyond business, Keltron is committed to fostering skill development in Zimbabwe by introducing training programs in collaboration with Zindia Digital. This initiative will create job opportunities for students and provide them with valuable certifications, contributing to Zimbabwe's workplace development. Kerala's business-friendly atmosphere, ladies and gentlemen, serves as an inspiration, and its models should be replicated across the globe to enhance international trade and collaboration. This partnership is a shining example of how two regions can come together to create lasting economic and social impact. Together, let us continue to build strong ties, drive innovation, and create new opportunities for growth and development. And allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to round off and say that I look forward to more companies from Kerala coming to Zimbabwe. The presence of the Honorable Deputy Minister and myself is a testament to the commitment that the government of Zimbabwe has in ensuring that your investment back home is going to be safe and you are going to reap good dividends. And allow me once again to tell you that as Zimbabwe, we are open to business. And these companies, the 11 companies and the signing of MOU today must inspire you to see that indeed you can come and invest in Zimbabwe. I thank you.
Thank you, Her Excellency Ambassador Stella Nkomo. And for the MOU signing and exchange, I'd like to bring on stage two gentlemen, Vice Admiral Sri Kumar Nair, Managing Director of Keltron, as well as Mr. Baiju M. Kumar, Trade Commissioner of Zimbabwe, India, joining us on stage for the MOU signing and exchange. In the presence of all the dignitaries on stage, as mentioned here, this is an important milestone in our partnership. And there was a question here specifically about electronics and the knowledge transfer that's possible, and that's exactly that we are kickstarting here today. I request both of you gentlemen to take the center stage. In the presence of Deputy Minister of Trade and Commerce, Government of Zimbabwe, Honorable Rajesh Kumar Indukan Modi ji, and Her Excellency Ambassador Stella Nkomo, as well as all the dignitaries present on stage. A memorandum of understanding is being signed and exchanged on stage as an important milestone in our partnership. A truly gratifying moment for Invest Kerala Global Summit. We request all of you to step up for a group photograph, please. We request all of you to step up for a group photograph. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear some noise here. This is what such events are all about, true collaboration and making things happen. And I'd like to request the Managing Director of Keltron to stay back and present mementos to all our dignitaries on stage on behalf of Government of Kerala, starting with the moderator of our session, Dr. Divya S. Iyer. The Honorable Deputy Minister of Trade and Commerce, Government of Zimbabwe, Shri Rajesh Kumar Indukan Modi ji. Mr. Pradeep Jayaraman, Chief Executive Officer, Adani Virinyam Port Private Limited. Mr. Praveen Thomas Josephs, Chief Executive Officer of DP World Ports and Terminals, Kochi. Captain Amresh Jha, Director of Kanu Shipping, India. Her Excellency Ambassador Stella Nkomo from Republic of Zimbabwe. And Sri Baiju M. Kumar, Trade Commissioner, Zimbabwe, India.